What's up? That sounds like a lot. Well, don't worry. Just take a seat and listen to what I have to say because I'm gonna talk about this one thing right here, right now. Film scores. There's a purpose for each track in a film score besides just accompanying the visuals. Because as much as filmmaking is a visual medium of storytelling, with a story being told, we also have to listen. It's not only through dialogue where we understand the context of the scene, but tuning in to the music also has its ways of telling a narrative. Now, I'm no expert in music or anything, but I think all of us have an understanding of how powerful it can be, which is why storytelling through music is. With the score composed by Son Lux, they're literally able to evoke everything, everywhere, all at once. The whole soundtrack contains 49 tracks, and they're about some of the most beautiful, epic, cathartic pieces of music I've heard in a film that can bring you to tears. I know, because I've honestly cried through every rewatch, and even just listening to the soundtrack, Son Lux's skill in commanding what emotion to feel is a great feat considering what this movie contains. Having the narrative journey through the multiverse, the direction Son Lux was given by Daniels was to make the music feel like they were flipping through various channels. And they do exactly that. The leitmotifs that play out allow us to put sound and visuals together, and what we get are themes that let us know which universe we're in, which character is being focused on, and the state of how characters are feeling. We can hear one note and immediately understand the trajectory of where it's taking us through the story. This is Evelyn's first major verse jump.
First jump.
Here, she's trying to gain the skill to fight, but ironically, in order for her to do that,
You're gonna have to profess your love to Deirdre. Oh, wait.
it's not something Evelyn does successfully on her first few tries,
I love you. I love you. I love you.
but when she finally manages to do it,
I know Kung Fu.
but for a fight scene, what plays in the background is not what we typically hear. Starting it off with Claire de Lune, it brings grace instead of intensity. Then later a kung fu score kicks in, and the scene ends up becoming epic, but also brings some sort of emotional hit with every strike. As amazing as that moment is, those pieces for that entire scene are part of one whole track called My Life Without You. Because to become a fighter, Evelyn had to jump into a life where Waymond wasn't part of it. And as much as we want to feel happy for Evelyn finally unlocking her potential, there's heartbreak from the thought that in a life without Waymond, Evelyn could have become something more. How Evelyn feels about her life tracks back to the opening scene. The film starts with a track called Wang Family Portrait, and it tells us everything we need to know about the story. We hear this joyful, dreamlike sound while being presented a frame of an ideal family. Then it cuts, and we're not with that reality anymore. A looming presence is heard as we get closer to the frame, and then it transforms into sadness, which turns out to be the current state of where these characters are at when the film opens. That's the Wang Family Portrait. The track holds weight, but in moments where Evelyn is grounded by what's most important to her, a part of the piece is played.
也许我们会更幸福。
我从来没说过。
你 你根本不用说。
Throughout the whole film, we follow Evelyn going through tons of overwhelming situations and watch her learn the values of love, acceptance, and kindness. Through the score, we hear all that come together. In the final fight scene, she faces off with Deirdre again, and just like the first time, she deals with the situation through love, the act that started her multiversal journey. It cuts back and forth to the universe with Hot Dog Fingers, where the two enemies are lovers in a failing relationship. While she tries to fix things, Evelyn asks Deirdre to play her song. We hear... It doesn't only act as Deirdre's theme in the film, but it also acts as the theme of love. When we hear it significantly the first time, it's in the track called My Life Without You, which doesn't seem to be the case here anymore. This time, it's the whole rendition of Claire de Lune, and it embodies how Evelyn is starting to fight with acts of love instead of using an act of love to fight. She's accepted her whole life for what it is. To tie it all together with what this story is all about, the track that follows is Come Recover, Empathy Fight. And it starts off with the same opening notes from Wang Family Portrait. But the weight it carried at the beginning of the film isn't there anymore. There's a lightness to it, and it transforms into something playful. The same goes with Evelyn, who we see is fully transformed as a person. She shows how the love for everything in her life brings out her full potential and allows a better grasp at dealing with everything that overwhelms her. With a multiverse full of tracks, listening to them, they shouldn't be able to work together. Although, can I just say, Now We're Cookin' being sung by Randy Newman for a universe with a huge Pixar reference is pure gold.
I don't know what I'd do without you.
Going back though, all that sounds like a total overload. But it's a maximalist score for a maximalist film, which works perfectly for what it needs to be because the music serves the story about a bunch of characters dealing with the overwhelmingness of life. Honestly, without the visuals, we can get a sense of what's going on and feel the whole story play out. Every other film score has its own way of conveying that uniquely, but For Everything Everywhere All at Once is just as therapeutic as the film. Son Lux's score isn't just music that adds more life to the film, it's a musical narrative that gives the chance to navigate a way to release. And that's something very comforting to have. Because at least with all this noise going around, we have something that can help us quiet things down, allow peace in our lives, appreciate what's in front of us, and take in the thought that
Nothing matters.